You know, living on the 12th floor wasn't bad. The view over the busy city was pleasant to look at. But the only problem was those elevators. I have bad sinuses, you see, and the pressure of descending quickly gave me headaches. But it passes, so it's an easy sacrifice. I waited for the elevator to arrive on my floor. It always takes a while. After a couple of minutes, I got impatient and started fumbling around with my pockets. While I was fondling my keys specifically, I realized one of the elevators had already arrived, wide open even. I hadn't heard the ping of the floor indicator nor the doors creaking open, but I shrugged it off and went inside. I should have left right then and there and taken the stairs. The air was immediately denser, hot and sticky. The faint stench of onions tickled my nostrils, but I figured it was some dirty neighbor's lingering odor. Again, I noticed that the doors had moved without me seeing them, and that the warm natural light was now gone. The elevator jumped for a second before descending. The creaking of the walls and cable jolted my nerves. The pressure in my ears slowly began to build, although this time it gradually formed into a horrible migraine. Pushing in on my temples, the trip was taking much longer than expected. And I was very eager to get off this flipping thing, but it just kept rattling as it went further and further down. The floor indicator read 12. How was that possible? The elevator was obviously broken, and suddenly, I feared it would drop. Suddenly the lights flickered out and died, leaving me in complete darkness. The air was noticeably getting heavier, and the smell of decaying fruit filled my nose and mouth. It was almost too much to bear. I began to cough and gag. I needed to escape. I began banging on the walls, shouting and screaming for help, but to no avail. There was no reply. It was as if the metal casing had taken me somewhere else. The elevator suddenly bounced and lurched into a stop. The sound of its shrieking brakes echoed through the shaft. The indicator displayed a bright red G, the only light I could see. How long has it taken? It didn't matter, at least. I was about to get out. The door shuddered and crept open. There was barely any light and what looked like the lobby, but I could make out something wet coating the walls. A red, spongy-like fungus. There was no people in sight, only a few discarded items, like clothing, bags, and groceries. I could just make out a large black hole in the center of the large hall. Emerging from the gaping maw was the heavy sound of something breathing. I slowly ventured out of this dark room, the floor squashing beneath my steps. I felt a slight breeze coming from just ahead, so I inched forward to discover the source. Something behind me cranked. I spun around to see a mug rolling on the table, and what looked like a pale foot disappear into the doorway. Quiet tapping echoed all around me. Wherever I am not alone.